My greatest reward is just supporting the kids that are around me and watching kids grow and thrive and getting them to their greatest level of independence that we absolutely can. It's helping them understand that they don't have to be workers, that they can be entrepreneurs, right? It really is the success of the kids that drives everything that I do. People will tell you I'm a sucker for kids. Anything for kids, I'm there. And also to, throw the rope back and pull along others to really support them in you can do this, you can become a teacher, you can go to your next level of leadership, and you can be as successful as your mind goes, right? But it's hard to do that when we're not trained to be teachers. We're not thought of as being worthy of being in the educational profession. And so I enjoy the fact that I am a role model, but I'm also a mentor. And so I mentor other African American classified, certificated staff. What is your next level of leadership that you would like to engage in, and really help bring them alongside in whatever way that I can support them. And sometimes it's a letter of recommendation. Sometimes it's one-on-one. We need to have a keeping it real talk about what's happening on the job. But it's good to know that I have that outlet in the African American Principals United group, but also that others that I mentor have that in me as well. So when they have concerns or things like that on the job, or they've been in an interview and they were like, I was there, I was the only African American there. I said, yeah, that's typical. It may be a shock to them, but I'm like, yeah, that's been my experience in education, right, in human resources. But how do we navigate the water so that you're successful? We do it for each other, but we also learn from one another, and then we come alongside each other. And so, if they need help, who do you need? I can come to your site. What do you need? They'll come to my site. And so we really do, and we are really in the business of making sure that not that we are successful, but that others around us that we can impact and leverage our knowledge and our resources to help them come alongside and be successful as well, regardless of their position. It's going to take probably a multifaceted approach. The yardstick for educational leadership still is embedded and deeply rooted in whiteness. And because it is, there can be a mismatch or a cultural misunderstanding between the goals of an African American leader and the goals of the district or those who are at the table. And so it's really important for districts to invest in African American teachers uh, and those in education to build a pool from within. So investing in your resources now in your African American employees to go and be successful in the teaching pipeline, to mentor them through that process, but also to ensure that their voice is not lost, that they are heard, and that they are valued in the process, so that there is a match between who is being mentored and who is the mentee in the process. I think one would be credibility, that we are always, as Black principals, having to rise to a level of excellence that others may not have to who are not Black. And so we are definitely going to come to any meeting or any kind of presentation prepared with excellence. But that yardstick is not usually bestowed upon others. I think another issue for me is just having spent most of my career in special education to continue to see the rise of Black and African American students being funneled into special education at disproportionate numbers than any other race continues to just really tug at my heart. And I got in this work here in Fresno Unified to be an advocate and a conduit for change in that overrepresentation of Black children in special education. Another, not issue, but just the norm is that as an African American principal, I'm usually the diversity index in the room. And so I will get the interview for jobs that I know that I'm well qualified for, but typically education can be very nepotistic. And so they already have somebody in mind. But because I am African American, I am the diversity index in that pool of hiring or applicants. And so you just kind of know it when you show up for the interview in person and they look at you like, oh, we didn't know, or, oh yeah, thank you for playing and thank you for being here. In some sense, and in some arenas, I am seen as a know-it-all. I have been told to my face that I am, the exact word was intimidating. Because I know the law, I'm a student of the law, I know what's supposed to happen, those kinds of things, and I'm not going to walk by certain things. But at the same time, in other arenas, depending on where I'm at, the issue becomes that I shouldn't say anything because the conversation is already been signed, sealed, and delivered by someone who is probably less credible, less experienced, or has a position, right? That positionality becomes important. They are above me. They know less than I do and could care less. That's a hard place to be in. There's not enough of us actually at the top. There's not enough African American principals at the top. And I attribute that to just limited opportunities as an African American administrator to reach higher levels within education or within administration, because we're not at the table to make those decisions. And that's huge for not just here in this district, but across the nation. And so I see that also as something that we could really work to do a better job of considering the outcomes of our students nationally.